I am Tom Radford from Thin Blue Line Canine. Obedience is our business. I estimate that at least 95% of dog owners out there need some kind of help with their dog. Put it sit. Put it down. Good boy. Put it come. Put it sit. Put it heel. We specialize in training the owner how to train the dog. And we're using techniques and philosophies that I've obtained in a 22-year career training police dogs. I had an incredible career with my police dog, Stoney. We are inducted in the Canine Hall of Fame at the Vermont Police Academy. Kitty through. Go, girl. We're training your dog, your pet dog, like we would at the Academy, a police dog. So we are shooting for high-end obedience and high-end balance and confidence. And really, when we use that system that we use down at the police academy and transfer it over to your dog, excellence occurs. And really, you walk out the door with a dog that has knowledge and skills that no other dog has, because nobody else is teaching these principles and these philosophies that I have obtained through decades of being an instructor through the police academy. The Thin Blue Line Canine will take any dog, any breed, any problem. I'm Tom Radford. This is Kaylee from Thin Blue Line Canine. And this video will help you get through our wilderness agility course. One of the toughest obstacles to accomplish is the very first one. It's the A-frame. You have to work together as a team with your dog. The closer you are to your dog, the more control you have over your dog. So if your dog is afraid of this obstacle right off the bat, we recommend hanging on to just a regular collar and working together as a team to get the dog to go to the halfway point. Once they get to the halfway point up to the top, they're usually good going down the rest. So here's how it looks in the finished product. Inside. Giddy up. Giddy down. Good girl. That's what it looks like with a professional dog. Kaylee's been through this thing probably about 500 times. So the first time is usually the toughest. Just get to the top, work together as a team, be really close to your dog. If you have a harness, you can hang onto the harness, or you can hang onto the regular leash and just work together to get to that halfway point. So this is the tunnel the command is going to be through. Some dogs have difficulty going through the tunnel. They get scared and maybe a little claustrophobic. So the first time through, you can sometimes toss a treat in there. Sometimes if you toss it maybe a few feet in and then toss one a little bit further, you can entice your dog to go in. Other times you can use a long line. You can have one person on one side and another person on the other. So you, again, work together as a team to accomplish the task. And that's the goal of all of this, is to accomplish those tasks so that your dog will increase their self-confidence. So this is what it looks like when it's finished. Haley, do. Good girl. Notice I'm only saying the command once. I'm saying the dog's name once, command once, and then when they come through, they get their reward. For Kaylee, I just give her a good girl, and she's good with that. Tabletops can be another tricky one. These are 5 little tops, and the dog has to go on each one. They have a little bit of movement to them, so the dogs can kind of freak out. The key is to go through quickly. Work together as a team. The closer you are to your dog, the more control you're going to have. So if you have a harness on your dog, you have a leash, you want to be, or just a regular collar, you want to be really close to go through the first time. And really one step at a time is the key. So this is what it looks like when they've been on it multiple times and they're very confident on it. Kaylee up. Go, girl. Okay, the simple jump. A simple jump is the next obstacle. Sometimes a dog is not used to jumping, and you have to help them out. So a lot of times if we are going to go do the jump for the first time and my dog is not responding, you can kind of work together. You can actually lift your dog up over. If you're going to do that, kind of be like a forklift. So you're going to have your first hand under here, you're going to have your other arm under here, you're going to lift with your legs, not your back. So you can lift and kind of catapult your dog over this obstacle. It should be pretty easy once they've been through a few times. This is where Kaylee looks like. And the command is over. Kaylee over. Go, girl. Next obstacle we're going to show you is the teeter-totter. Very, very challenging for a lot of dogs the first time. As you can see, it goes down once the weight distributes. So really the key is, what we're going to show you is to work together as a team, be close to your dog. Sometimes you got to be firm and fair. If you want your dog to go through the first time, you can do it. If your dog is freaking out, you just have to let them know that they can trust you. You're not putting them in a position to fail. And the key for the teeter-totter is to slow down at the halfway point, let the weight distribute, and then to continue on. So here's what it looks like with Kaylee going through. Kaylee up. She's going to slow down, weight's going to distribute, and then she goes down. Go, girl. All right, guys, hopefully these helpful tips will help you master our wilderness agility course. We have over 24 different pieces on a 1 mile course. It's awesome fun. It's a great workout. And I think with these little tips, you'll master it. If you have any questions ever when you're here, you just reach out to someone from Thin Blue Line Canine. We'll be more than happy to help you. But good luck. Spread the word on this awesome course, and we'll see you soon. So the thing that separates Thin Blue Line Canine from any other program probably in New England, my experience training police dogs for 22 years. We also have an indoor state-of-the-art training facility, and we also have the only outdoor wilderness agility course in the Northeast. It's tailored towards what police dogs have to go through, and it's about a mile long, a very challenging course that taps into building self-confidence, building obedience, and teaching new skills to dogs. Board and Train is an intensive training program that really is tailored towards each specific dog's issues. So if you have a dog, for example, that has major aggression issues, I may do an assessment and I may recommend a 3-week Board and Train program. If you have a dog that just needs an increase in healing or recall percentage, we may do a shorter program, anywhere from 10 to 14 days. So it really depends on what the specific dog is, what the client wants. It's tailor-made for each specific dog. The first session of our Board and Train is the morning energy burn with obedience, which may include a fast walk, a play session, and basic obedience to include sit stays, recalls, and healing. Training session 2 is a fast-paced obedience session, which could include multiple fast-paced commands, a combination of agility and obedience, and a play session with obedience. Session 3 concentrates on agility. If it's a nice day, we will go on the Wilderness Canine course, which is the only one of its kind in the Northeast, and that includes a 1 mile run through the woods and 22 agility pieces. If it's an inclement weather day, we will do agility inside. Training session number 4 includes problem solving and socialization. That includes dog reactivity, human reactivity, any issues with recalls or healing, any specific problems such as chasing cars, bikes, or runners. Training session number 5 is technical obedience. So we're working on recall percentage. How many times does the dog come back on his or her own? Healing percentage. How often is the dog staying in place when we heal?
Good boy.
Also, sit-stay times and distance.
Put a sit. Put a heel.
So during our board and train program, we really treat your dog like they were our own. And we will take care of your feeding needs. If they have any specific medical issues, we will really follow any directions that the client gives us so that your dog is taken care of here just like they would be at home. And with an additional structured program of 5 training programs per day, a ton of exercise, and a ton of love and attention from all of our employees. Welcome to DogWise, your headquarters for dog knowledge. I'm Tom Radford, the host. We have a great show set up for you today. We have Lauren Sullivan, who is one of my employees. She has 8 years of experience previously in the first aid canine field, so we are going to do a dog canine special today. Also, we have top 10 today, which we're going to be talking about the smartest dogs in the world. And Chihuahua, Nancy Davis, one of my employees. Chihuahuas are not at the top of that list. I apologize. And we also have a world premiere of one of our sponsors. So stay tuned for that. That is coming up. So, one thing I have to say right off is I'm gonna mention that this show is done strictly for informational purposes only. Nothing replaces the information that you get from your veterinarian if you have a medical issue. We're just a talk show. We're talking. We're kind of diving into Lauren's experience in the medical field, but absolutely nothing that we say today can be construed as information that we're giving out to you as far as how to handle these medical problems. Completely just informational. Please go see your vet if you have any specific emergencies or anything like that. If you have any questions about any of that stuff, you can reach out to us and we'll be happy to guide you through that. So, welcome, Lauren. Thank you for working all day and joining me at the end of a long day in the beautiful sunny town of Williston, Vermont. I think it was about 83 degrees today. Absolutely drop dead gorgeous day. We love days like this for sure. So the first thing we're going to ask you, Lauren, is what exactly is your background in the canine first aid field?
Well, I became a veterinary assistant. I started off as an assistant in the early 2000s. And I received enough hours under my belt to where I could challenge the Veterinarian Medical Board in the state of Oregon, which at that time was still the only state that allowed grandfathering in. I studied really, really hard and went before the board and took a vigorous 500 multiple choice test and passed, and then they issued me my certification and I became a certified veterinarian technician.
So let me ask you, that's what I love about these shows is we're all learning as we go, and I didn't know that it was such a vigorous process. Is that like nationwide or is that specific to Oregon?
It was, at that time it was specific to Oregon. Now it's, now you have to go through an accredited veterinary technician program, I believe, in order to get your certification. Now, to my understanding, and I could be mistaken, but Vermont doesn't require, having to go. So it's state by state, to my understanding.
Gotcha, because that was my understanding too, that I'm not saying that Vermont doesn't have stringent guidelines, but I'd never heard of that before, so
Yeah.
very interesting stuff. Yeah, so it's almost like anything in the medical field, the human medical field kind of translates over to the state of Oregon as far as animals go, which is kind of cool. Yeah. How hard was that test? Pretty hard?
Very hard.
Okay.
Yes, it was very, very difficult. 500 multiple choice questions, and it's before the veterinary medical board. So, you know, it took about 4 hours. So
Awesome.
It was
Well,
pretty vigorous.
And that was, so you did that job for 8 years out in Oregon. Tell us about the place that you worked out there.
Well, I worked for a veterinary clinic that basically small animal practice. So anything from emergencies to ear cropping, you know, your basic spay and neuters, you know, disease, animals with diseases, certain diseases, dogs, cats, sometimes snakes, rabbits, birds, but no large animals.
No horses or
No
donkeys or
horses.
anything like that? Okay. But is it fair to say that you guys were equipped to handle pretty much any issue that arose?
Yes, unless, you know, for instance, we did not have specialists there. So there weren't cardiologists there, there weren't oncologists there, orthopedics were not there. So, you know, we would sometimes often have to refer some clients out to do some of those major surgeries, like a torn ACL. That would be more of an orthopedic surgeon. Sometimes we would do amputations depending on, you know, the complexity of the situation. And of course, all cases vary based on, you know, different circumstances.
So again, I learned something else. I did not know. Maybe I knew, and I just didn't realize that there were actually orthopedic surgeons in the dog world.
Dermatologists, yeah. There's
dermatologists.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
There's in veterinary medicine. There's specialties.
Right.
So you can go in Oregon, anyways, and I do believe there's, you know, somewhere here in Burlington, you know, a place where you can go that's strictly just specialists. So one department will have the oncology department, or they will perhaps have their own private practice, and then, you know, you have the dermatologists, and, you know, so whether or not they're in the same hospital or they're referred out, just kind of.
Did it have plastic surgeons too, or? I mean, seriously, that's great. Awesome. We all love our dogs. We love our fur babies, no doubt about it. So what drew you to this field? I mean, we all have our passions, and we all have things that we come upon in our lives that kind of draw us to them. But what is it that drew you to that field?
Well, I started off volunteering at a no-kill animal shelter that housed all of the dogs in packs. And this was a shelter. This wasn't so much of a rescue, but, you know, we had our common kennel cough, we had our common cases of vomiting, diarrhea. You know, sometimes dogs would get into fights, and we would have to manage and handle bite wounds and give antibiotics and vaccines, Bordetella, distemper. Specifically, rabies was only given by a veterinarian. And, you know, I was kind of like that child always asking the why question to their parents. Why? Well, why is the sky blue? Well, why does this dog have diarrhea? What could be the cause of this dog vomiting? And, oh my gosh, I'm kind of freaking out because this dog's not eating their food anymore. So I really kind of wanted to just have a better understanding of you know, the medical background in that aspect, because dogs can't really communicate with you other than, you know, specific signs and symptoms.
So you mentioned that you had packs at the place that you worked in Oregon. Explain, like, you know, why that's important and what that looks like, and, you know, why would you mention that? What is so important about that?
Well, it's important for socialization for the dogs themselves. For instance, you know, small dogs would be in separate packs, you know, sometimes up to maybe 6, 7 dogs at a time, but they would be with the small dogs. Larger breeds would be with the larger dogs. And basically housing purposes, and you know, when people would try to inquire or want to visit and adopt a dog, we would have waiting areas, and they would be that people would inquire about a specific dog, and we would bring that specific dog to the person. So people couldn't actually go and tour into the facility because, you know, the dogs would react. so to speak.
And how many dogs, what was the max capacity there?
Oh gosh, if I can remember correctly, because this is dating myself, maybe 50
So
max.
pretty loud facility for
Yeah,
sure.
we would have, you know, several groups of, you know, 6, 7, 8, 9 dogs.
Was there ever a time when you were working where you couldn't hear a pin drop?
Yes.
Okay, that must have been magic.
It
Because
is
I know here, we talk about this, we love here at Thin Blue Line K9, which is where we're at right now. We're at Thin Blue Line K9 headquarters. Don't forget to like and share this show, guys and girls. And don't forget to check out the newsletter. When you go to the website, thinbluelinek9.net, you have the option of doing the newsletter. You save 10% off that initial consultation if you sign up for the newsletter. The co-owner of this business, besides myself, is my wife Dory. She does all the newsletter stuff. She does an awesome job with that. We do all kinds of stuff here. We do board and trains. We do one-on-ones. We do group sessions, which we're starting to really kick in since COVID is over. Knock on wood, is on its way out, let's say that. But we just have a really good time, and we have the agility course. It's a 1-mile course. We showed a video earlier on the course. Some really, really good stuff going on here. So please, you know, find yourself, if you have any dog problem in Vermont, New England, Maine, New York, wherever you're at, Pennsylvania, we'll take anybody that has a problem. If you have dog problems, come here and let us help you out. We have an awesome team of trainers, and we all love our dogs, and we all teach and train and treat your dog like we would our own. I think I got sidetracked there. We're talking about a pin drop. So we have moments here where we have very busy days. Weekends are nuts, absolutely crazy. And once in a blue moon, there is sometimes literally 30 seconds of silence in here. And it's funny because the client will usually look around and be like, oh, what's wrong? And us trainers, we're basking in that silence, and we're just loving it. And we even tell the clients, it's like, silence is good, because we don't have it that much. So we love silence here, for sure. So let's dive into the meat and potatoes of like what you did when you were out there. Can you describe the most difficult case you had to work? Tell us what that was all about.
Yes, it was early on when I first started and got into the practice. Some people found a stray cat on the side of the road, or I don't know where the cat really was. Nonetheless, it was on its last legs, and they brought it in to be euthanized, and you know, I assist with the veterinarians and helping with the euthanasia, and by doing that, holding off a vein. So you would roll the vein and make sure that the veterinarian can see the vein in order to administer the drug. And unfortunately, the cat was infested with maggots. And maggots were coming out of basically every orifice.
Do we have a sound bite, Rohan? Like, ooh, or something like that?
Little kitty's body. It was very difficult. I could actually feel the maggots underneath the skin. You could see the maggots underneath the skin.
That doesn't bother you?
Oh yeah, from that point
Okay.
on, I didn't work with maggots. So
Okay,
if another
great.
case of maggots came in, I was like, not it.
Yeah.
Nope, not dealing with maggots ever
Yeah, that
again,
sounds
so.
really just plain
Yeah,
disgusting.
somebody else dealt with the maggots.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm glad I asked that question. And speaking of questions, if you guys out there, guys and girls out there, have any questions, fire away. This is a great show to get some information, any information at all. We're going to talk about a lot of different things today, but we're trying to give some good information on the show, stuff that you can use, and we're all trying to just educate ourselves so that we're better dog owners, better dog people out there. So what was the most rewarding case you ever worked?
Good question. I would probably have to say there's a time that a little Yorkie came in to a raccoon encounter, and almost didn't make it. Poor little Yorkie was basically skinned. And, you know, there's some things in this business that you just can't unsee, so it's certainly not for the faint of heart. And we were pretty convinced that this little pup wasn't going to make it, and miraculously she did. And you know, through repetitive visits, some hydrotherapy, lots of pain control, antibiotics, keeping her from going into shock. It was definitely an emergency situation. You know, surgery to basically remove the skin because there was practically no skin. So she made it, and I would have to say that was pretty rewarding. I mean, it's hard to categorize it in just one case, but that's one that was
Awesome.
sticks with me.
Do you have some questions over there? Are there any questions
Yes.
firing away? Sorry, my phone's not working that well today. I'm not sure why. So,
Wow.
What do you have for?
Okay, so what is better to give a dog, rawhide or natural bones? I personally don't like to give my dog bones. Marrow bones are good because they break off in little pieces, but anything in excess, you know, can certainly make your dog sick. And certainly ask your veterinarian what they prefer most. I absolutely do not recommend the rawhide bones that you pick up at the grocery store that have the two little knots on the end. I have seen in my experience some foreign body surgeries having to remove that because they don't digest it properly. So, you know, really check with your veterinarian to see what they prefer, because I specifically don't like to give dog bones.
Any other questions, or is that
Yes.
the only one that came through?
How can I calm my dog down during a thunderstorm?
So that might be a question for me. Thank you very much, Rohan. Very good question. So I think I've talked about this on previous shows. It's a really pretty large problem, especially with loud noises like fireworks coming up, right? 4th of July is coming up. And there's a lot of different philosophies out there. One philosophy is that you can buy like a thunder shirt, put the thunder shirt on, that helps. That's the philosophy. And a lot of people kind of get into a situation where they feel sorry for their dog and they want to give the dog a lot of attention and a lot of cuddling and kind of communicate to the dog, hey, everything's going to be okay. So the problem with that, though, that we see is we're humans and they're dogs. So we're sending it through our own human mind, this message to the dog, and we think what we're telling the dog is, hey, it's okay not to be afraid of the thunder, of the loud noise, of the fireworks. And how the dog a lot of times perceives it is, hey, you're giving them a lot of attention for that fear, so it's okay to be fearful of those items. So in actuality, what we find is that giving the dog a ton of attention when they seem fearful is the wrong thing to do. And obviously there's a lot of debate about this, but what we tend to do, and what I do with my own 6 dogs, is I just kind of let them figure it out on their own. I give them space. If they seem like they're fearful, I don't want to give off this message to my dog that I can't handle the loud noise, and therefore you know, I don't want to show fear myself. So a lot of times my dog will look at me and be like, hey, Dad, is this something that we have to worry about? And if I'm not even paying attention to my dog, I am of the belief that they'll look at me and say, oh, if Dad's not worried about it, then I'm not going to be worried about it. I can tell you my personal dogs are not afraid of fireworks. They're not afraid of thunder. We just give them space. We let them kind of work it out. And it builds their confidence in those situations. And I think that's the best way to handle that.
Take a commercial break.
We're going to take a commercial break. Our new commercial? Yeah. Okay, we're going to air our new sponsor. Make sure you watch this, guys. This is world premiere. We're professional dog trainers. We're here at Thin Blue Line Canines Training Grounds. We're testing out a new product today. Crunchy.com's Comeback Collar. We're talking about a 100% guarantee that your dog comes back every single time. All right, we're bringing out Kaylee, who is one of our newest dogs, and she's awful at recall. Kaylee, come. Kaylee, come. Go ahead. Haley, come. Haley, come. Haley, come. Haley, come.
Haley, come!
Kaylee, come. Kaylee, please come, please. Okay, we've had about enough here. We are going to put on Crunchy's comeback collar. Kaylee, come. Okay, man, we gotta turn down the settings.
I guess so.
Kaylee, come. It's apparent to us, guys. You have to get Crunchy.com's new comeback collar.
All right. Hopefully you guys liked our new sponsor. Hopefully you're going to go out and buy the comeback collar. It's a great product. So we're back to the show. Welcome back to Dogwise, your headquarters for dog knowledge. My name is Tom Radford, and I'm with Lauren Sullivan, who is talking to us today about canine first aid, and we're diving into her 8 years of experience as a vet tech. So we're going to continue with that. We got a few questions that came in. Somebody asked, "What is your favorite breed of dog?" I'll let Lauren answer that first, because everybody has an opinion, right? It's almost like asking, what's your favorite restaurant? So go ahead, Lauren. What's your favorite breed of dog?
Well, I'm pretty partial to Japanese Chins. I have a long history with that story, and but since working here at the Blue Line Canine, I'm growing more fond of Shepherds, especially having to train them, which more than likely I will probably own one someday in the near future.
And that kind of segues into my favorite dog, which I do not hide from anybody, is German Shepherd, of course. I had a police dog for 9 years. I have 6 dogs right now. 2 are German Shepherds. I just love the breed. I love all dogs, but I'm sorry, German Shepherds win out as far as I'm concerned. So we just had a question that came in from Mary. How did that collar work, she asked, on the commercial. Mary, that was a spoof. Red alert, that was a spoof. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to put that out separately. I want you to like and share this show. Let's spread the word. But we may send that out separately, and let's turn that commercial viral. That'd be kind of cool, right? Viral to me is like if 10 people like it, 10 or more. So let's see if we can get up to that level. But no, that was a spoof. That was complete just for fun and just to kind of show a little bit of humor during the show. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Let's see. Joe said Joe is Lauren's husband, and he said his favorite dog is 15 pounds or less. So Joe is a, right, so he's talking about a 15-pound German Shepherd, right? Okay, Joe, so 8-week-old German Shepherds, usually about 15 pounds maybe, so they start out that small.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So we're going to get Lauren a German Shepherd before you're done. All right, so we're diving into the questions as far as canine first aid. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to send them our way. Don't forget to like and share this show. And don't forget to go to the website, newsletter, thinbluelinec9.net. Sign up for your board and train, for your one-on-ones, for your group classes. And we also have an awesome one-of-a-kind in the Northeast agility course. So, let's see. The question that we have next is, for Lauren, is what were your favorite and least favorite surgeries?
Well, some of the most interesting cases, and I guess most gratifying, I really liked foreign body surgeries. So removing.
Okay, go ahead.
Removing a foreign body, whether or not we had a case of a little kitten that ate 17 hair ties, and so we had to remove 17 hair ties out of its little belly. There was another case that a husky ate several socks, and we had to remove several socks from its intestines. My own personal case, Crosby, my little Japanese chin, he had a bladder stone that was about this size, which needed to be removed from his bladder. So while I'm sure they're very, very, very stressful surgeries, they're the most interesting, some of the more interesting cases. My least favorite surgeries, I would probably have to say ear cropping. The vet that I worked for was very, very, very good at what he did, and was one of the only veterinarians in that area that did ear cropping. And the Portland Trailblazers were frequent clients of ours in that aspect. So we got to see them all on a regular basis and enjoy their dogs. But it's cosmetic, and it's bloody and unnecessary.
Not a big fan.
Not a big fan.
Is that veterinarian out there, is he still working?
I don't know.
Okay. We're going to give him a big...
I would tend to say he sold the practice.
Okay.
So if he is working, it's not his practice anymore.
Gotcha. So let's, we got another question that came in. Rachel Ank asks, any suggestions for a 5 to 6 month old German Shepherd mix that is aggressive towards certain people? Yes, call thinbluelinec9.net. Come here. We do aggression all day long. We do all kinds of breeds, but we do a lot of German Shepherds. I consider us experts here at dealing with that kind of stuff. What we would have to do is take a look at your dog and see, what kind of aggression it is, how bad is it. 5 to 6 month old typically doesn't exhibit true aggression, like true, I want to kill that other dog aggression. A lot of times the owner may be a little confused about what's going on, or may be unaware of what's going on. So what we do is we will bring the dog in, we test them out against other dogs, we see what we're up against, and then we find what your dog is responsive to as far as language. So we want to communicate to the dog in that moment that it's not okay to do that. So we do that all day long. We're really good at it. This is a great place. We have a great training facility here. We have all the equipment. It is the place to bring your dog for those kinds of issues. So you can go to thinbluelinec9.net. We have a great website. You can do all the scheduling online. We're the only dog training facility in Vermont that has the online schedule, so you can do everything right at your desk. Grab your favorite beverage and kick up and just do everything right there. You can pay, do all the paperwork, all that stuff. So we have board and trains, one-on-ones, all that stuff. So that's my suggestion for you, is to reach out to us. 802-922-5376 is the phone number.
Cheryl has a question.
Okay. Rohan, I just messed up your phone, and I'm going to give it back to you just for a second.
Cheryl Wilford, I have a
Yes.
2.5-year-old German Shepherd named Roscoe.
Okay.
Who seems to think that the bathroom is in the house now and goes without letting us know. This is so unlike him. So I guess what I would recommend is it's very difficult to know whether or not it's behavioral or if it's a medical issue, and the only way to, figure that out is to rule out the medical issue. So take your dog to the vet. They'll
Thanks.
more than likely want to get a urine sample or a stool sample, depending on whether or not it's urine or stool. We want to make sure that your dog's not suffering from a bladder infection or something more serious like bladder cancer. And I would start there. And if these tests come back negative, or your vet thinks that it's more behavioral, then you can pretty well bet that it's a behavioral issue, and then that would be a different discussion.
Awesome. So Nicole says Zoe likes to be outside, but I'm not sure how to handle her being outside in the warm weather, which is a huge problem right now. We're coming into summertime, guys, so this is a great question. How do I know how long is too long to be out in the heat? I'll let you handle that question.
So specific signs of heat stroke are rapid breathing, disorientation, sometimes vomiting, rapid heart rate. When in doubt, you could always take your dog's temperature. If it's higher than 104, immediately get your dog to the vet. How you're going to want to do that is, treat your dog by obviously getting it directly out of the sunlight into a cooler area, and wetting your dog down with a towel, then wringing out the towel, because your dog's body heat is going to absorb into the water and then make the water warm, so you want cooler water. And a neat little trick is if you have rubbing alcohol laying around, go ahead and apply that on the pads of their feet or in their groin with no fur, or the flaps of their ears, without getting the alcohol down their canal, because what the rubbing alcohol is going to do is draw the heat out of your dog's body as well. Dogs are pretty resilient as long as they're not left in a car where they can't escape the heat. So they'll get pretty restless. So if your dog seems like she can't get comfortable for any reason, then it's time to bring her into the house. But really, rapid heart rate, fast panting, sometimes disorientation, nausea, vomiting, the oh crap moments is when your dog is potentially suffering from heat stroke.
Awesome. Very good information. So, Lauren, I am going to mention some medical emergencies that dogs could get into. We're in the middle of a training center. We have board and trains here. So Angela is our employee. She just came in, just to let you guys know what the noise is in the background. She's going to zoom by and get one of our board and trains and take them for a nice long walk on a beautiful night. So not only are we recording here, but we're working too. So this is a great place to be. A lot of dog action going back and forth. So anyways, I'm going to mention some medical emergencies that dogs can get into, and I want to know, and I'm sure people out there want to know, what you would recommend to get through these stressful incidents, okay? The first one is a dog bite or for wound treatment. So what do you recommend there? Like say somebody's at the park, their dog just got into a big dog fight. What are the steps that they should take?
Well, obviously, get your dog to the vet. But if it's, a minor puncture wound and not, a gaping, actively bleeding wound, then you can bring your dog home. You can shave the area so that you can see the area. Clean it out with just basic soap and water, or dilute chlorhexidine in 50% water, 50% chlorhexidine. The key is to have the bite wound heal from the inside out. So if you notice any swelling, discharge, an odor, anything of the sort like that, then you need to seek medical attention for your pet.
That's a pretty common thing around here. We see, we deal with a lot of people that have dogs that are aggressive, and they've gotten into, we call them disturbances. It just sounds better than a bite, right? But it's good to know how to go through those situations and how to maneuver through those for sure. What about a pretty common thing this time of year, potentially a lot of dogs are out hiking. What about bee stings? Your dog gets stung by a bee. What the heck do you do?
Well, if you can localize the area, there's nothing wrong with doing a baking soda or baking powder and water paste that will help reduce the swelling and draw out the stinger. You could also 10 minutes ice pack on, 10 minutes ice pack off. But generally, you know, it's kind of hard if you can't localize the area, especially if your dog eats the bee and gets stung. You can give your dog Benadryl with the knowledge of your veterinarian. But the things to look out for are hives. A lot of times dogs will experience hives all over your body. That may require something stronger than Benadryl. You know, anaphylactic shock, because basically histamine, you know, it's a histamine response. So anything more serious than that, severe excessive swelling, you know, if your dog gets stung by his face and your dog's face is 3 times the size that it should be, you should probably go to your vet. But, you know, is it a medical emergency? Yes and no. It's just, you know.
It's probably pretty apparent if it's an emergency, right?
Yeah.
Just like with humans,
Yep.
for sure. And I just want to mention again, we're just sharing information tonight. We're not giving medical advice. We're kind of tapping into Lauren's knowledge and experience to kind of educate all of us. You know, anybody in the dog field, I'm a professional dog trainer. I do not pretend to have the knowledge that's in your mind as far as all of the medical stuff. I know the basics. I think a lot of people know the basics, but some people know more than others. And I'm sure if you've worked, you know, for 8 years in that field, you're going to have way more knowledge, and we appreciate, you know, you having that knowledge. I have to say that when we're doing the daily trainings, often I'll look right at Lauren and say, you know, what do you think? And so we're doing a team approach here at Thin Blue Line Canine. It's a great way to train dogs. When you bring your dogs here, there's not just one person that's training your dog. It's a whole group mentality, and we're working really hard, dawn to dusk, 6 days a week to train your dog. We're doing one-on-ones. We're doing group sessions. We're doing the agility course. We're doing board and trains. ThinBlueLineCanine.net is where you want to go. You want to sign up for the newsletter to keep my wife Dory happy, because she does the newsletter. She does a great job with that. And just bring your dog problems here. We're used to doing any kind of any size dog, any problem. I am Tom Radford from Thin Blue Line Canine. Obedience is our business. I estimate that at least 95% of dog owners out there need some kind of help with their dog. Put it sit. Put it down. Good boy. Put it come. Put it sit. Put it heel. We specialize in training the owner how to train the dog. And we're using techniques and philosophies that I've obtained in a 22-year career training police dogs. I had an incredible career with my police dog, Stoney. We are inducted into the Canine Hall of Fame at the Vermont Police Academy. Kitty through. Go, girl! We're training your dog, your pet dog, like we would at the Academy, a police dog. So we are shooting for high-end obedience and high-end balance and confidence. And really, when we use that system that we use down at the police academy and transfer it over to your dog, excellence occurs. And really, you walk out the door with a dog that has knowledge and skills that no other dog has, because nobody else is teaching these principles and these philosophies that I have obtained through decades of being an instructor through the police academy. The Thin Blue Line Canine will take any dog, any breed, any problem. I am Tom Radford from Thin Blue Line Canine. Obedience is our business. I estimate that at least 95% of dog owners out there need some kind of help with their dog. Put it sit. Put it down. Good boy. Put it come. Put it sit. Put it heel. We specialize in training the owner how to train the dog. And we're using techniques and philosophies that I've obtained in a 22-year career training police dogs. I had an incredible career with my police dog, Stoney. We are inducted into the Canine Hall of Fame at the Vermont Police Academy. Kitty through. Go, girl. We're training your dog, your pet dog, like we would at the Academy, a police dog. So we are shooting for high-end obedience and high-end balance and confidence. And really, when we use that system that we use down at the police academy and transfer it over to your dog, excellence occurs. And really, you walk out the door with a dog that has knowledge and skills that no other dog has, because nobody else is teaching these principles and these philosophies that I have obtained through decades of being an instructor through the police academy. The Thin Blue Line Canine will take any dog, any breed, any problem. Welcome back to DogWise. This is your headquarters for dog knowledge. My name is Tom Radford. I'm the host. I'm the co-owner of Thin Blue Line Canine here in beautiful Williston, Vermont, especially on a day like today. If there's any place to be on this planet right now on a beautiful 83-degree day, it is right here. It's a beautiful place. And I have as my guest today, this is our First Aid Canine show. I have Lauren Sullivan, who is one of my employees, and we're having her on because she has 8 years of experience working as a vet tech out in Oregon, which sounds like they have a really, really stringent guidelines out there for becoming vet tech. So it sounds like it's really difficult to obtain that position out there. And she did it for a long time, and we're using that knowledge right now to our advantage. This is just a talk show, so we're not saying that follow our advice exactly. If you have an emergency or anything like that, you want to go to the vet. But we're going to continue our conversation here at Thin Blue Line Canine. Go to thinbluelinecane.net, like and share this show if you like it. We had our world premiere commercial, so make sure if you don't see the show, make sure you go back there and take a look at that. That's a really awesome thing. And so we're going to dive right back into the issues that we were talking about. Ticks. Yeah. Talk about ticks next? Yeah. Okay, Rohan wants to shoot right to ticks. It must be one of his favorite things to get, maybe. So when your dog gets a tick, we kind of know what to do if a human gets a tick, right? At least I do. I think most of us in Vermont have had a tick at some time or another, but is there anything special with dogs? I mean, first of all, it's going to be harder to see, right?
Yeah, so, we recommend flea and tick prevention, of course. And then, for instance, if you're up at our agility course, when you go home, go ahead and do a full look over and check your dog for any signs of ticks. Don't be alarmed. Don't panic. If your dog is on flea control and tick preventative medication, when the tick bites, it's going to die. So the threat of disease and that sort of thing isn't totally out of the realm of possibility. They still can transmit it through the bite, but the tick is dead. So that threat is diminished a little bit. How to remove one? There's various different ways. Some people will say, a hot match or some salt, but basically just try to get as close to the head that is embedded in the skin as possible and gently pull so that you pull the head out along with the body. If you do not get the full tick out from the area that the tick has bitten your dog, don't panic. Again, the tick is dead. And then, of course, seek your veterinarian for any signs of lethargy, signs of a fever, redness or swelling around the area. That looks a little bit, more alarming than, just a basic tick bite.
And you have to grab those suckers pretty hard, don't
Oh,
you?
They give me the EBGs.
I feel like I'm a pro at it by
And
now.
They're hard to kill, so just make sure you kill it.
Yeah. Now, is it true? I thought I read somewhere that most people will flush it down the toilet,
Yeah.
and I've heard that doesn't kill the tick. Is that true?
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know.
All right. Any tick experts, give us a call.
Yeah, generally speaking, you can put the live tick in a plastic baggie and drown it with rubbing alcohol.
Gotcha.
So
that sounds like
basically
a
want to suck
fun side job for sure. Absolutely. So let's see. Porcupines. Sometimes dogs get the good old porcupine incident. So what does that look like? I've been, knock on wood, I've been lucky. I've never been in that situation. The next subject after this is going to be skunks. I feel like I'm an expert in that. But porcupines, if your dog's
Believe it or not, that is one case that I never saw when I lived in Oregon. I didn't
Okay.
live out in the countryside or a wooded area so much in Oregon. The only case that I've ever seen is when I had to bring my own dog to the emergency vet, and there was a happy-go-lucky Labrador that came encounter with a porcupine. It was actually its third time, in fact, and they were also at the emergency room. That dog was not even phased and had several quills coming out of its muzzle.
Now that's our job, like as a dog owner, I'm supposed to get in there and pull those out?
No,
Okay.
no, I would
Good to
not
know.
pull them out. Nope, that
Okay.
is a job for a veterinarian.
Gotcha.
I wouldn't even know where to begin. I don't know if the quills have hooks on the other side that if if they need to be pulled out a special way. But anything, like even a nail in a pad or in the side of your dog, or that's, impalement, don't ever pull it out without a veterinarian. Because it could actually stop your dog from bleeding. You pull it out and your dog could be bleeding more. So
Kind of like humans.
yeah, don't do it on your own.
Yeah, yeah. Humans supposed to do the same thing. So skunks are. I can tell you a story. My police dog I had for 9 years. Stoney was his name, and after the third time he got sprayed by a skunk, and it was always a similar situation. He was on a track, and he would just zoom off and get sprayed by a skunk. After the third time, I went to the vet and I said, is this dog ever going to learn? And basically the vet said that they never learn. Is that true? Yes. Dogs never learn to stay away from skunks? Yeah. So I have my theories on how to handle that whole situation, but what's your advice?
Well, it really depends on the veterinarians. Some veterinarians have their own special concoction on a specific bath to bathe your dog in.
Tomato, right?
Tomato's been.
Does that work?
I don't know. I've never
Okay.
had an experience. Same in Oregon, I never came across
Okay, so maybe I'm going to jump in here. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm going to be
go
the
ahead.
medical expert for a second, or at least the owner who has had this issue happen multiple times. What we do at the police academy. I'm still an instructor through the academy, and we have information that we gather down there. Hydrogen peroxide, 2 containers of that, a little bit of Dawn dish detergent, or generic, whatever, and I believe it's baking soda. Just, I think, 2 tablespoons. I can tell you right now, this is how I did it with my dog. And the last time I did it, it was in February, because skunks can be out in February when it's unseasonably warm. You mix it together, you put that on the dog, and you leave it there as long as you can, for like 10 to 15 minutes if you can. Even longer, and you make sure you get it all sudded up, leave it on there, that's the key, and then you spray it off. And I remember the first time I used that formula, I was amazed. It was like literally 95% of the smell just flew right off. So that's the key. I think the key is to get that stuff on as soon as you can and leave it on as long as you can. And then I think we maybe did it twice too at the time. But for me, I've heard through the grapevine that the tomato thing doesn't really work. And who wants to put your dog in the bathtub and then you're dealing with all that? I'm taking my dog outside. I'm putting the mixture on there, and I'm gonna just hose him off. So that's what I ended up doing. Nicole asks, any information on walking your dog when the pavement is hot? You have any advice on that? Walk really fast.
Yeah, I mean,
Did you see that much? Like, I don't even, Oregon, does it get that hot out there?
it does.
Okay.
It does get very, very hot.
Because so they can get injured pads from walking on the pavement?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And not only during hot weather, but also in the wintertime during very, very crunchy snow. Through my experience, I had a English pointer, and I was out for a half hour snowshoeing, and she came back and just blood everywhere, bloody paws all over the snow.
Oh, from crusty snow?
From crusty
Yes.
snow, because she was such a fast runner, and she's a hunting dog, so she would just run really fast, and half hour later, that's all it took. So you could put booties. I mean, there's nothing wrong with putting little booties on your pet's paws. Burns can happen for sure. So on super duper hot days, I would just, if you could avoid your dog not being on the pavement, I think that's the best course of action.
Yes, I agree with that. Joel Morales is watching. Hey, Joel, how you doing, buddy? From the old days when I was a police officer. So welcome aboard. Probably a common problem for humans and dogs, right? Heat stroke. So dogs can get heat stroke, correct?
Yes.
Okay. How does that happen, and what the heck do you do about it?
So it's scary. Again, they're going to be panting a lot, excessive, increased heart rate, confusion, disorientation, vomiting can happen, diarrhea can happen. Their gums are going to be bright fire engine red. So when in doubt, you can always check the gum color of your dog. Depending on the situation, you're going to notice a huge difference. So if your dog's gums aren't like this really pretty pinkish and they're fire engine red, or they're kind of gray and pale and purpley, you know that is an absolute serious problem. You can also take your dog's temperature. If your dog's temperature is above 103, 104, immediately take your dog to the vet and cool it down as soon as possible. Just keep the cold water coming. Alcohol on the pads will draw out the heat from your dog as well. And
So like rubbing alcohol on the pads?
alcohol.
Okay, that's
Yep.
great. That's an awesome tip.
Yep. If your dog collapses, that's a scary sign. So try not to panic and get your dog to the vet as soon as possible. And don't ever leave your dog in a locked car.
Yes, good point. What's up? We have a question. Great question, said Karen. As far as Nicole's question on walking on the pavement, I believe is what that's talking about. If you guys have any more questions, fire away. So we were just talking about dogs in cars. I can tell you from I was a police officer for 21 years, there were many times in the summer where we would get called to a car, windows up, dog is in there in distress. It's a horrific situation. I had a couple of times I had used my expandable baton to break the window to save the dog's life. Don't do it, guys. When it's really hot outside, like inside that car, it can get, I don't remember the exact numbers, but it was like 15 to 20 degrees hotter in that car within like 5 minutes if the windows are up. It's really not a good thing at all. I think the best advice when it's a really hot day is like leave your dog at home. If you have an air-conditioned, nice cool place to have your dog, don't feel like you have to take them to the grocery store when it's going to be 95 degrees out. That's always the situation when we encountered them was, somebody would say, well, I always bring my dog with me. Well, okay, when it's that hot, you can just leave your dog home. So, just kind of a lot of common sense. But one thing that has kind of threaded its way through this whole entire conversation is the fact that when anything happens to your dog that is scary, stressful, or whatever the case, you want to keep you cool, right?
Yes.
You want to be nice and calm. No pun intended there, of course.
It's the most difficult thing to do. the most difficult thing to do in any sort of emergency situation is not to panic. But it's the most important thing because your dog does feed off of your energy. So, for instance, if your dog gets hit by a car, the best thing you could do is not panic, stabilize your dog.
What do you mean by stabilize your dog?
So, if your dog gets hit by a car, obviously you're going to need to move your dog, but you want to stabilize it in the sense of, the first thing that comes to my head is shock. Your dog can go into shock very, very quickly. Your dog is painful. You don't know what type of injuries your dog has. The best thing to do is A, stay calm, B, keep your dog warm, actually, because shock, rapid breathing, your dog gets kind of cold and clammy. You can check their gums again. They're going to have like this bluish grayish tinge. Shock is an indicator that there's not enough oxygen getting to the brain or the heart. So you could lay your dog on its side and then gently raise their lower body, so right around the hip area, just so that you are elevating that area and sending the blood flow to the heart and to the brain, and then immediately get your dog to the vet.
Yeah, I was just thinking that when you're describing all of that. Unfortunately, there's not a dog ambulance that you can call. We have to get our dogs to the vet,
Correct.
Which is just a scary situation, especially if you're by yourself, right? So how do we do that? Like, just out of curiosity, I've been, knock on wood, I've been lucky. I haven't been in that situation specifically. But am I like, taking my shirt off, taking a jacket or something like that, putting the dog in that area, in that jacket maybe, and lifting them up and putting them in my car? Am I seatbelting them in?
Absolutely, especially if you have, an 80, 90-pound dog and or higher, and you're by yourself, you're going to need some sort of kind of like hoister, almost in a sense. So if you have to take off your shirt and lift it underneath their groin and help them walk along, just to even basically get them in the car, be very, very cautious, because when your dog is in pain, the first thing it's going to want to do is probably bite you. So you need to be very, very alert and very cautious. And if that's the case, take whatever means necessary in order to protect yourself, but at the same time, keeping an eye on their gum color and making sure that they're still breathing. So how you could do that is you could put a shirt over their eyes. That might be able to calm them down a little bit. Certainly not over their mouth, because you, again, want to be checking on their breathing. It could be a simple, depending on whether or not you can protect yourself from getting bit, is to just scoop your dog up so that the neck is here, the butt is here, or underneath, and gently place them on their side in your car, and then get to them.
Yeah, and I think we talked maybe earlier this week about, I think it was you that came up with a great tip of almost like a makeshift muzzle for your dog.
Yes.
You could use your shoestrings,
yeah,
which is great. That's an awesome idea.
Shoelace, if you, that was my first thought, was a shoelace. Again, don't want to do it too tight. This is just so that, while you're transporting your animal, that you're protecting yourself from getting bit.
Yes. So we have a couple questions coming in. Butters and family are watching. Thank you very much, Butters and family. Michelle Davino said a pet ambulance would be awesome. Maybe a second business.
Yeah.
Sure. Absolutely. We're all over it. That would be awesome. That'd be really cool. I don't think there is such a thing in the U.S., is there? No. Okay. So Karen Kotecki, hopefully I didn't butcher your name, says, sometimes my elderly dog, 11 and a half, will act as if he's choking upon eating a treat or food. Can you tell us how to help them if indeed they are choking? And we have that on the list. Great question,
Yes.
Karen. Great question.
Very good question. So let me address the whole choking part. If your dog is in fact choking, what you want to do is open up your dog's mouth and see if there's some sort of blockage or some sort of foreign body. You're going to take the tongue and either put it to the side, open up its mouth.
5 minutes.
And you could do a finger sweep. When you do that, it's very important that if there is something lodged down their throat, whether it's food, a ball, a bone, or anything like that, you don't actually push it down any further. Now, if it's a dog bone, you don't necessarily want to dislodge it either, because you could do more damage trying to take it out. You could always do chest compressions. So, you know, the whole idea is the Heimlich maneuver, same as in humans. So that is in fact, if your dog is truly choking, gums are turning blue, excessive pawing at the mouth, very, very, very stressed, and then eventually collapses and is visibly not breathing. If you know your dog is eating its food and it kind of, you know, is just hacking a little bit, or it sounds like your dog is snorting, like almost breathing rapidly through their nose, that's what's referred to as a reverse sneeze, which can be very alarming and very scary for owners who don't know what that is. And the causes of that could be something as simple as overexcitement, eating and drinking water, seasonal allergies, or something more serious as a foreign body, and therefore you would need to get your dog to the vet so they could do possible x-rays or potentially a rhinoscopy. So collapsing trachea, that's another issue that kind of sounds like your dog is choking as well. So
Excellent.
When in doubt, take your dog to the vet.
Rohan's letting us know that we're coming to near the end of the show. I want to ask one last question before we do the end of the show stuff. What is your best lifetime dog memory? You tell me yours, I'll tell you mine.
Oh my gosh, I can't centralize this. I like the best.
It's got to be something that pops in your mind.
I would have to say, just recently going to pick up my new little puppy Jiro. But then that makes me think of going back and when my husband picked up my new little puppy Crosby. So I guess, when my favorite moments is when you first bring your dog home and it's a new experience and you're just getting to know your dog and you're really excited and the anticipation is ruthless, and then you finally get your dog and it's a great feeling, and that's where you have potentially 15, 20 years of a new friendship and a new love and a new joy.
Awesome. And the new German Shepherd that's coming right. will be awesome. Mine, just real quick, being inducted in the Canine Hall of Fame with Stoney, nothing will ever replace that for sure. So this is Thin Blue Line Canine. We're doing this show to share information, to put information out there, and also to just kind of spread the word about what we're doing and where we're at, and where we can be reached. thinbluelinecanine.net. Make sure you share and like this show. We hope it keeps spreading. We're off to a good start. I think this is the 5th or 6th episode. When we get to 100, we can syndicate. So that's what we're shooting for, right, Rohan? Right. 100 shows, we'll syndicate. Awesome. But we're doing this because we want to share all of this knowledge. We want to make everybody more educated. I learn something new every single time I come on here. I'm learning every single day, and I'm a professional dog trainer, so it just kind of shows you how much information is out there, how much more there is to learn. There's nobody out there that can know everything about this field. It's impossible. It certainly is. But thinbluelinecanine.net. Make sure you like and share this show. Let us know if you like the commercial that we aired tonight, worldwide, world premiere. We have a newsletter. Make sure you go to the website to do the newsletter. 802-922-5376. We can handle anything that comes our way as far as behavioral stuff.
This is Kaylee from Thin Blue Line Canine. And this video will help you get through our wilderness agility course. One of the toughest obstacles to accomplish is the very first one. It's the A-frame. You have to work together as a team with your dog. The closer you are to your dog, the more control you have over your dog. So if your dog is afraid of this obstacle right off the bat, we recommend hanging on to just a regular collar and working together as a team to get the dog to go to the halfway point. Once they get to the halfway point up to the top, they're usually good going down the rest. So here's how it looks in the finished product. Giddy up. Giddy down. Good girl. That's what it looks like with a professional dog. Kaylee's been through this thing probably about 500 times. So the first time is usually the toughest. Just get to the top, work together as a team, be really close to your dog. If you have a harness, you can hang onto the harness, or you can hang onto the regular leash and just work together to get to that halfway point. So this is a tunnel the command is going to be through. Some dogs have difficulty going through the tunnel. They get scared and maybe a little claustrophobic. So the first time through, you can sometimes toss a treat in there. Sometimes if you toss it maybe a few feet in and then toss one a little bit further, you can entice your dog to go in. Other times you can use a long line. You can have one person on one side and another person on the other. So you, again, work together as a team to accomplish the task. And that's the goal of all of this, is to accomplish those tasks so that your dog will increase their self-confidence. So this is what it looks like when it's finished. Haley, do. Good girl. Notice I'm only saying the command once. I'm saying the dog's name once, command once, and then when they come through, they get their reward. For Kaylee, I just give her a good girl, and she's good with that.
All right. Welcome back to DogWise, your headquarters for dog knowledge. We had a little bit of a technical difficulty there. Not a big problem. We're getting more efficient as we progress in these shows, so thanks for coming back. We were just in the middle of doing the top 10 smartest dogs in the world, all right? We had number 10, we had Australian cattle dog. Number 9, we had Rottweiler. Number 8, I can't even remember before we cut out if we had this guy right here. This is a Papillon.
Papillon.
Papillon, yeah, that's it. That's the ticket. Have you ever had one of these?
No, but I've trained them.
Okay, awesome. I don't know if I've trained these little guys. Maybe I have. I'm sure I have.
Agility, in fact. They're great at agility.
Okay. So, number 7 is the Labrador Retriever. Beautiful. Number 6. Everybody's hoping, oh man, I hope my dog's like top 6. This cool looking dog, the Shetland Sheepdog. Number 5. We've trained plenty of these over the years. A beautiful Doberman Pinscher. Number 4. Golden Retriever. All right. Number 3 is my favorite dog. Does anybody remember? Drum roll. German Shepherd. Personally, I think German Shepherd should be number 1. All right. I'm just saying, whoever compiled this list, just think about it. All right. Number 2, we've trained these guys and girls. The Poodle. And the number 1 smartest dog in the world is not Chihuahua. Nancy Davis, I'm sorry to tell you. It is, and we train a ton of these. Border Collie. In fact, I think we had one today, didn't we? Or yesterday?
Yesterday.
These dogs are super smart, which makes it good to train, but also makes it more difficult to train too at the same time. So that is our top 10 list of smartest dogs. So that's always kind of cool to put that information out there. Next week we'll have another top 10 list. We have no idea what we're going to be talking about then, but we'll figure something out and we'll have fun with it. Absolutely. So hopefully, how we looking, Rohan?
Good. Wrap it up.
Wrap it up, okay. So hopefully you had a great time. Hopefully you learned some new information. I'm going to thank Lauren Sullivan for being here and being my guest today and really giving out some cool information. Again, we want to reiterate that you want to stay calm under stress. If your dog is in a stressful situation, it does nothing to help the situation if you're stressed out. So stay nice and calm. The common themes: if your dog's temp is 103 or 104, get to the vet. If your dog's lips are reddish in color, get to the vet. You got some bad things going on there if that happens. Definitely at least call your veterinarian if you get into any kind of situation, and use them to kind of guide you through that. This is just an informational talk show. We do this for fun. We have a blast doing it. We love sharing information, but definitely rely on those medical professionals for the medical problems. For the behavioral problems, come to thinbluelinec9.net. This is the place to come, 802-922-5376. Make sure you like and share this show. It's a great show, and we keep becoming more efficient and more proficient every week, and we're having fun with this, and we're going to keep doing this for sure. And make sure you check us out. Our new website is awesome. Our new website is the only one that has a schedule, an online schedule, so you can do everything you need to do right there. You don't even have to call us if you don't want to. You can go there, check out our board and train program, the one-on-ones, the group classes. The group classes are out right now. We're doing those all the time. They're always full, and we're always having a blast. So it's a great way to socialize your dog, build self-confidence. Check out our agility course. We sell for $50, you can get 10 passes on the agility course. It's a real good bargain. For $5, you come here, you run through our course, you have a blast. It's a mile-long course. It's a good workout for you and your dog. And most importantly, it builds self-confidence in your dog and probably in yourself too, and really improves that trust between human and dog. But thank you very much for showing up, Lauren. Thanks, Rohan, for everything you do, buddy. And we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks, everyone.
We're professional dog trainers. We're here at Thin Blue Line Canine's training grounds. We're testing out a new product today. Crunchy.com's Comeback Collar. We're talking about a 100% guarantee that your dog comes back every single time. All right, we're bringing out Kaylee, who is one of our newest dogs, and she's awful at recall. Kaylee, come. Kaylee, come. Go ahead.
Come!
Kaylee, come. Kaylee, come. Kaylee, come.
Haley, come!
Kaylee, come. Kaylee, please come, please. Okay, we've had about enough here. We are going to put on Crunchy's Comeback Collar. Kaylee, come. Okay, man, we gotta turn down the settings.
I guess so.
Kaylee, come. parent to us, guys. You have to get Crunchy.com's new comeback collar.
VT Livestream specializes in video streaming live events in real time with the utmost care and accuracy. We pride ourselves in our ability to connect friends and family virtually so they can share in life's most treasured moments. Weddings, birthdays, memorial services, sporting events, or conferences. Whatever the event, whatever moment you would like to share with your loved ones far away, we can help.